go. There we go. There we go. There. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. All right.
All right.
There we go. All right. I am good to go.
Nice. Give me 30 seconds. I'll get it in Discord.
Yep. No worries. All right.
All right. All right. Hello, gamers. Hello. Welcome on in. Appreciate everybody being here. Notification gang, Goobak, Trent, everybody. Welcome on in. We got some fun things ahead today. Welcome to episode 62 of the Voices of Vera. This is Nice Gaming and no one, and we could not do this without you, the Voices of Vera. See, I tried to switch it up there, and it just didn't have the same feel. It just didn't have the same feel.
I hear you.
Darcy, how you doing?
You do an intro for so long, and then you try to change it up, and you're like, "Man, this just flops so badly," and only you think that. Everybody else will think it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been there.
Gubek said only 7 more episodes. So true. The big milestone we've all been waiting for. Episode 69 is on the way.
I can't believe episode 69 is almost here. I can't believe it.
Yes. So today we have a couple of plans. So first, perfect timing, Trent. So what's on the agenda for today? So today we're just going to we got some Reddit posts that we want to get to, of course. We got some Reddit posts we want to get to. But we want to start this stream off by with a formal announcement. I kind of touched on it on the stream that I did Saturday, random improv 2 stream, if you will. A little small taste of the announcement, but I want to do the official one here. We want to like really kind of, talk with you guys on our normal show at a normal time and everything like that. So let's go ahead and get it out there. And we'll probably have to repeat this later for when everybody else gets in.
Let's delay it real quick. So Nice. How was your weekend? Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna troll you guys for like the next 10 minutes before we do the announcement. How was your weekend, Nice?
My weekend was good. I pretty much just did a bunch of gaming. Had some time to do a little extra stream Saturday. Been leveling up on, well, you know me, always playing World of Warcraft. You know me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much the weekend. What about you?
I watched a lot of football.
Nice.
So I got to watch your Chiefs beat the Ravens. That was a fun game on Thursday. And then last night I got to watch my 49ers just absolutely curb stomp the Jets. So that was a good time. I typically only get the TV like one day a week because the girls and my wife have the TV. And so I'm like, you know what, guys, I just want football on Sunday. And then like we make like Sunday appetizers and stuff. So they pick out something they wanted. And yeah, it was a good time.
Lovely. What have you been doing? Any gaming lately?
No, so I will be getting back into gaming soon. I know you've been playing World of Warcraft. The girls just started school on Thursday. I don't know when your kids are starting or if they've started yet or not.
Yeah,
But
they
yeah,
have. Yeah.
yeah. So it was hectic right before that, trying to do like summer stuff before school started, and then I'm in a few different fantasy leagues, and then it was football, and then work, and now it's like slowing down just a little bit. So yeah, I plan on finishing a couple games and then probably hopping on World of Warcraft as well. But what about you? Like, what do you
Yes.
think of World of Warcraft so far?
So this is like another stop on my
What about you?
apology
Like, what do you?
tour. Do y'all kids play game with us? My son is a huge gamer. He just turned 5, but he doesn't play like my PC game. I think it'll be a while before he can like handle like a mouse and keyboard or so. He likes to play the when I play a game that I use controller for, he'll sometimes pick it up, but he plays all his games on his tablet. But yeah, he'll sometimes like, hey, can I sit in your lap? And he'll just sit in my lap. Like he was watching me play World of Warcraft a lot this week, and so
Nice.
we're starting them young, But yeah, I've been loving World of Warcraft. Like I said, this is the start of my apology tour. Perfect timing right before we get into Ashes of Creation. I I like it. It is the best PvE and like storytelling and questing and open world questing, I should say, like I've done in a MMO and like even in a game. I would probably only rival it with Elden Ring.
Sure.
Um, Full disclaimer, I never played Skyrim. I think
Wow.
that's another one people gravitate to. Some people might say Red Dead 2, but for me, it's World of Warcraft, and I'm really appreciating the journey. It's been around for 20 years for a reason. Yeah, dude. And the thing is, I've always said it's good. Like, I've always said, like, obviously it has to have its core audience. There has to be a reason it's been around, right? It's a reason it's the king of MMOs. But me personally, I just never felt like I would like the combat. Whenever I watched it, I was just like, ill, And when I did try it, I think last month, and I tried Classic because everyone recommended Classic over retail, it was my worst fears come to true. It played exactly like what I watch, because when I watch streamers, I always watch World of Warcraft Classic because it's recommended more.
Hmm.
And you guys know I refunded it instantly. I tried retail this time around, got the War Within expansion, and I've been loving the combat, man. I've been loving, and this is a guy that's anti hold right click on my mouse to turn my camera all day. I'm the action Andy, blah blah blah. I like tab target when it's done right, and I think I finally got it right with WoW, and it's
Nice.
been a good experience. Got me a little protection warrior, got my getting my tanking ready. Because that's probably the first archetype I'm gonna test in Alpha 2. And I've been liking it, and I'm doing some old expansion. I'm not even doing the War Within. I'm doing like some old Shadowlands expansion.
Nice.
After I'm 65, once I hit 70, I'm gonna do the War Within. Then I'll probably eventually backtrack the Dragon Fight, work backwards, or I don't know, whatever. But the fact is, you guys know I'm a PvPer. I'm a PvPer. Like the fact that I'm loving this PvE so much says a lot, and it made me realize I just haven't liked the PvE and well, most of the PvE and the MMOs that I've mained. So
Sure.
yeah, that's the end of my apology tour. You guys will never hear me say any of that again. But yeah, it's. I think it's gonna be it's definitely my main MMO right now. I think like when we have downtime on Ashes, when we start with the 3 days a
Yeah.
week, that's what I'm gonna be playing in the downtime. If I'm not busy like editing and streaming and stuff like that, which I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the
And
case. But
kids and family and
yeah, the
yeah.
kids. Yeah, it's like I'm probably we'll see how that actually works out. But
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I just realized that's kind of funny, nice.
Mm.
So I've made no hidden comment that like I've not kept this hidden that I think it's funny that like 6 months from now, Nice is gonna turn into World of Warcraft Andy and like advocate for
Yeah, yeah.
PvE servers and all that. But the other thing that I just realized as you're going through how excited you are is you're in a unique situation in that just about everybody else in the space is coming from playing World of Warcraft for 10, 15, 20 years and they're just bitter and like
Oh
it
yeah.
happened, they've been playing it for so long and you're literally going through your first experience, the thing that they look back nostalgically on, and
Hmm.
you're doing the thing right now that they wish they could do, like they wish their memory could be wiped and they go back and experience it for the first time. And I don't know, like that. I'm just
I,
really
I I
happy for
love
you.
what
I'm
you're
really
saying
happy for
because
you.
so I love what you're saying. So eventually, my plan is sometime before Alpha 2. I would like to edit and upload a video about, World of Warcraft new player experience, or I tried WoW for the
Sure.
first time in 2024. One of those generic titles, right? And not do a full review. I don't feel like I'm qualified for that, but a new player review, if you will.
Yeah.
And what you said right now is exactly what I've been going through when I started World of Warcraft. We have the most I have the most bitter people, like, because they've endured this for 20 years. They hate the developers. Blizzard has like kidnapped their children and wronged them and broke their heart so many times. And me as a new player, I don't have that stain, right? I don't have
Yeah.
they don't have that stain on a resume. And as I've played more and more World of Warcraft, I start to see the ESO in it. What do I mean by
Yeah.
that? Well, we're veterans of ESO, and we're jaded at this point, right? We're just like, wow, you guys really dropped the ball on this. Like, oh my gosh, what are these devs? What are they doing? What is this content? Who's making the decisions up there? What is going on? I could run this so much better. And then, some players bring up ESO and you're like, have fun. Or like, you missed the good old days. It'll never be as good as when I first started playing. It's a crappy game now. Those kind of players, when they look back on their MMO, it's usually met with like disdain. And with World of Warcraft being around for 20 years, that's like tenfold, right? So
Yeah.
you have these better players that's been playing it since they were teenagers, and 20 years. I mean, 20 years, guys. And so as I started playing, I've had, whenever I'm like, hey, any advice for a new WoW player? I mean, I could show you multiple tweets, Discord posts,
Yep.
highlights and stream, whatever. Nothing but bitter people, like not being welcoming to a new player. Like, it's just like, go ahead and stop playing now. Like, it's a bunch of that. Not
Yeah.
necessarily being toxic, of course, but more so like they're trying to, like, I'm trying to save you, don't start now. But the thing is, and there's a lesson in here somewhere. But the thing is, it lets you know how these MMOs that you're unhappy with stick around. It lets you know how player bases happen. Like, for every person that quits, there's two more players that come in just with blind eyes of ignorance, right? Because I'm not aware of like, oh well, the wild token. I'm like, that doesn't matter to me. I'm just playing a new MMO. I'm liking the combat. I'm playing this expansion. I'm loving this story. All that stuff. And it's like, oh well, wait till you get to endgame. I'm like, dude, I got 20 years of endgame ahead of me. And just in comparison, ESO's been around for 10 years, right? And
Yep.
so, and I even said in my review of ESO this year, like, I'm envious of a new player that comes to ESO because it has, well, we've talked about it so much. ESO has so much overland content, right? Um, Dude, I'm so sure I'll have to check my journal on WoW, but I'm pretty sure I'm like over 500 quests in. I'm not even being funny.
That's funny. Yeah. It's
But
I,
it goes to show you like the MMO experience right now and how people will treat that new player.
so a comparison I would make, and like this is the one most readily available to me, but like whatever your favorite thing is, whatever your favorite thing was the first time you tried like this cheeseburger from this restaurant, whatever, like you
Mm,
had that first experience the first time. And one of my favorite parts about being a dad is I get to like let my daughters try food that I enjoyed as a kid for the first time and see if they like
yeah.
seeing that look on their face is like one of the coolest things in the world. And
Hmm.
you're living the World of Warcraft experience right now of that for so many jaded players. And like they're like, man, fuck them. This game sucks,
Yeah.
blah blah. And you're like, man, I'm
Oh,
questing.
you're
I
having
I
fun.
got I got protected warrior. I'm a tank. I'm good. Everything's great. And it's just it's so funny.
Yeah, it's the good old, and I guess that's a good thing for a while. They got a decent new player experience. Well, I've had a good one, I should say. But it's funny, like a couple people in my Discord have started playing WoW. Like people that did play, they're not new like me. Some like that did play and they just got annoyed with Blizzard 10 years ago, and now
Yeah,
they're playing again. And it's because they saw me having fun and it brought back a lot of nostalgia. And yeah,
that's funny.
but yeah, it's been a good time. It's been a good time. It's been a good time. And Trent here earlier, he said, and welcome on in, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. Um, he says, unfortunately for Ash's launch, I think they're also taking it in the right direction currently, whereas there was like an 8-year gap of bad expansions.
Sure.
Unfortunately for Ashes, I think they're taking it in the right direction currently. Oh, okay, gotcha,
World of
gotcha.
Warcraft
Like
is
World of Warcraft is getting better. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah, that's probably another thing. I'm probably just coming at the right time, but man, the class identity and everything like that, it's been phenomenal. I ain't gonna turn this into a WoW stream, guys. I promise. That's the last I'm gonna say of it. But oh nope, someone made a comment about WoW. I gotta go back to it.
Uh,
Big Guy says, my issue with WoW is you sit in a city and wait while you're looking for a group. You teleport to the dungeon and repeat the cycle. It feels like you're sitting in a lobby and the game doesn't feel like an MMO feels. This is coming from someone with 3,500K raider I hours, I guess, and runs dungeons all day, but it starts getting old when you have nothing to do in the actual world. Yeah, I totally could see that in-game perspective. Arctic, how you doing? I totally get that perspective, and that's the thing. And that's a lot of feedback that I hear when it comes to World of Warcraft, and a lot of complaints I heard about ESO, how these MMOs, these modern MMOs, are slowly getting away from what makes an MMO special. See, me right now, I'm just running around open world, right? I'm not max level, so I'm having fun. I have a smaller, a significantly much smaller world view than you when it comes to the World
yeah.
of Warcraft. Haha, no
Well,
pun intended. But
there's a reason a bunch of veteran players played for so long that they got jaded, right? There's a
yeah,
reason they
and then
got
a
there.
lot of them went to Classic.
Yeah, and you're experiencing the reason that they started off, got excited about it, and they got to play it for a long time, and now they're upset about it. So it makes a lot of sense. I see it a lot in, like you said earlier, I see it a lot in ESO as well, where I have a few friends that are playing and they're like, hey man, did you see what happened with this? And I'm like, yeah, I did. And I try so hard not to be like, I try hard
The
not to
negative
like
Nancy.
be like super negative, because if people are excited about it, they're excited about it. They're just like, yeah, are you gonna come back? I'm like, nah, not yet. I'm just not feeling it, right? And just because I'm not doesn't mean that other people shouldn't be happy about the games they're playing and
Yes.
excited about stuff.
Yes, big facts, big facts.
So
And like I was saying, that's a big reason people play Classic, because it retains some of those MMO core things. You're not just queuing up, and
yeah,
you get more of those principles. And just to kind of tie us back into Ashes more, Ashes is getting back to that, like that complaint that he just talked about. You sit in a city and then you just queue up and then you just port in, you're automatically like open world dungeon. That concept in itself, not that Ashes is the first to do it, but it's like stuff like that, and the death penalties and all these, you hear old school feels. Thank for the follow. All these old school feels you hear about, it's like gamers are going to get that. And I talked about it recently, but I think players from all different MMOs are going to come from Ashes looking for what we're basically going to all meet up on Ashes. Those jaded WoW players, the person that's finally bored with Guild Wars 2, the New World guy, the everybody is going to like be coming to Ashes. It's going to be huge. This could be the next MMO. It's funny, like with Throne of Liberty, even though it's free, I don't hear too much talk about it. Like, oh, we'll meet up on Throne of Liberty, and like I hear a lot of people, like some people might be playing it, but it's just not like everybody knows it's like a filler MMO. I'm just not getting that vibe. Whereas with Ashes of Creation, it's like it feels big, even for people that's not hardcore following it, like at weekly, daily, whatever you want to call it, like us. It's like it's gonna be the next thing, man. But yeah,
Nice, you're a good thing.
do you hear that?
I did.
I was trying to have her tell you that you're a good tank, and I think she said dink. I don't know.
So I was so confused. I was looking around on my screen, like, did someone donate that? And that was a TTS. I like, bro, I was so confused.
Great.
I was looking for it. I was like, what was that? Was that from on my end?
You got ambushed. I got a bunch of rogues over here.
Nice. So that was Elsa's voice changer. Chat, I need to fix my voice changer. I actually have it here. I need to order one more part. But here I'll show. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know if my camera will pick it up, but yeah, I got my voice changer and whole sound mixer thing from a sponsor that I just haven't gotten around to inputting. So I'm gonna try to. I got that ordered on Amazon. I'm gonna try to have it together so we can do some fun stuff with that soon. But anyways, let's get to our big announcement. Let's get to our big announcement.
I just want to say that we said we were going to delay for 15 minutes, and we're at like 14 minutes. We did a pretty good job actually delaying.
Nice. AV, welcome on in. Barnes said, do you guys think Alpha 2 is going to last 6 years like Narc said in his video?
No.
Okay, that needs to be our first discussion right after this. Yeah, that's funny. So we were just talking about that because we got a lot of Reddit posts that we want to get to today. And I was like, "Hey, did you get that one?" Because I saw it on Reddit. Someone posted Narc's video on Reddit, and there's like some comments in there. And like, if I recall correctly, most of the comments isn't really about the timeline or maybe even the context of the video. All the comments is concerning. Well, to be fair, the post is titled this, but will it release in 2030? So yeah, we'll probably start off with that and discuss that. If somebody could post that in one of the chats, I'll grab it from there. Or if somebody wants to post it in the VOV Discord, that'd be even more convenient. We'll grab it from there. But yeah, so announcement time, chat. So first off, I want to give a big thank you to all of you. I know it sounds corny
Yes.
sometimes or content creator cliche, but we literally couldn't do this without you guys, the voices of Vera. We wouldn't have these opportunities if you guys didn't watch the content. You know, if you guys didn't hang out in Discord to help build a big community, like a video, subscribing, just tuning into these streams, like each one of those. I love looking at the names in chat and remembering the names from a previous stream or
Yep.
knowing that person, like, oh, I remember you had this take, or we just like built such a good positive community, and I really appreciate you guys. And else I'll let you go ahead and give your thanks before we move forward. But yeah, just wanted to,
Yeah.
from my end, just say thank you guys.
It's been fun. We've been doing this for over a year now, and it's really cool to have these conversations with you guys. Just a bunch of people excited for a new MMO for a variety of different reasons. We come on here. We like to joke around, shoot the shit with you guys. We agree, we disagree. But I think the best part about our specific platform, Nice, is the fact that even though we all disagree, it never turns into oh, you're an idiot. Like it never turns into something like that where it's just like, I don't know. All that is just really weird to me when we're talking about a game that's not out yet. And this community is like, yeah, I see it this way. I see it this way. And we just have we have good conversations. And I think a lot of that is why this has gone as well for as long as it has. And yeah, we can stop delaying and get to the announcement now, I suppose.
Yeah, like I completely agree. No, we're gonna keep delaying this. Like
Okay,
I
that sounds good.
completely agree. Like when you foster an environment where everyone's opinion is welcome, which is, oh my gosh, that's the toughest thing you can do on the internet, right?
Yeah.
That's the toughest thing you can do. But it's really, really enjoyable to have that kind of environment where you guys can disagree or have a different take. Because to me,
Yes.
that's even more fun. Like that's more fun. Like imagine pulling up a debate show on ESPN and they disagree with everything.
Yeah.
They both hosts just agree with everything. It's like, oh well, this isn't compelling.
Yeah.
And even when and Ellis and I are very similar, we have a lot of the same ideals, so we typically do mostly agree with each other. But there's always there's one of the voices of Vera that does disagree, or like, oh well, I played this, or maybe they should do this, like WoW, or then there's
Yeah.
this guy that's like, well, in my opinion, New World doesn't need swimming, and then everybody attacks that guy. But no, I'm playing it. But we all take each other's takes, opinions, dissect it, and present it. I've said this 30 times, but my very first stream, I'm gonna tell this story, else I think I told you.
Yeah.
My very first time looking into Ashes of Creation, at least as far as live content goes, I've watched edited videos, watched the Peon video when it came out, et cetera, et cetera. But my first like live stream, I remember looking at the Ashes of Creation category and I was like, this game is out? I thought it wasn't out yet. How is someone sitting in the Ashes of Creation category?
Yeah.
What are these weirdos doing? And then so I go into the category, and my first introduction to the Ashes of Creation community was someone belittling their viewers, belittling their community, telling them how they're wrong, or that they think that's what they want, or
Yeah.
like, here's why you're just going off on people. They even went off on me after when I spoke in their chat. Just stuff like that. No, not Narc. But like, that was my first experience. And so I'm like, man, I never want to be that guy, especially because I was
Yeah.
already thinking about doing Ashes of Creation content. I was like, I never want to be that guy. And so yeah, I want to foster I'm glad we fostered a debate style environment and where you guys can voice your opinion. Unless it's PvE servers, then I think we all band
Yeah,
together to like point and laugh at that guy. We dox the person,
you
we
should be
kind of like
stoned. Like
yeah,
not
stone
even
them.
yeah, like you should be put out in public and then stoned. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
that's just no,
That's where we draw the line, guys.
So
Other than that, we're pretty inclusive.
So you know what's funny about what you're talking about right now, Nice? And I'm going to delay this announcement a little bit further. I made a whole video this last week, and I didn't post it. And I was just like,
Oh.
like it was one of those like you make it, you're excited to make it, you're like, okay, this will be fun to talk about, and then by the time it gets upload, like everything gets rendered, you're like, who is this even for? Like this nobody's even gonna watch this, right? Like there's no point. Like that's how I felt. But I was just like, I got in my own head and I just decided not to post it. But one of the points that I got in there, I posted a video a few weeks ago and I got called a cultist, and because you sent me the post, and somebody called me a cultist, and they're like, yeah, these crazy cultists, blah 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 blah, and it kind of made me laugh because I was looking at it and I was I always try to put myself in the other person's shoes on where they're coming from, right? Like, okay, well why do they believe this? And I like to think that I don't hide my opinions on my channel. I like to think I don't hide my opinions on here, but we disagreed. Me and this person disagreed on this point of view.
Yeah.
And so he called me a cultist. And it's kind of funny when you kind of reverse engineer these things and you think about it a little bit further. If I'm a cultist every time I disagree with this person, that means in order for me not to be a cultist to this person, I need to agree with them 100% of the time, right? I need to always agree with this person or else I'm a cultist. What does that sound like to you? It sounds like a cultist to me. Like you need to agree with me, and if not, you're a cult. Like the entire thought process was just so weird, and you see people tossing it around a lot. And it's like, guys, we can have different points of view. We got some content creators. Okay. We have some content creators and some people in this community that are white knights, and somebody in the community does something and they're going to be like, hey, Ashes of Creation's awesome. I'm going to defend them to the death, and screw you. You're going to have to fight me on the internet. And that's fine. And you have other people, and you have some people that are pessimistic about everything else and literally, think Ashes of Creation's not coming out until 2030. And that's fine too. Everybody has their own opinion. And I like to think that I'm somewhere in the middle. And it's just, I don't know. It's just like the entire thought process of I'm right, you're wrong has always been weird, especially when we have such incomplete information right now in where this game is at. Yeah.
It's just someone saying, hey, my guess is more educated than yours. Like, pretty much what it comes down to it. Before we get to this announcement, catching up with the Voices of Vera, Big said, out of all the Ashes streams / podcasts, I've enjoyed y'all's the most. So I want to say thank you guys for the show. Thank you for that, dude.
Thank you.
Gialis Denor, sorry if I butchered that, says, are we getting an El's face reveal or just imagine him as Bob Ross forever?
There will be clouds. There will be a face reveal, I promise. It might be soon.
Snap. TM. He's almost done in the character creator, you guys.
When the character creator actually comes out for Ashes of Creation, then I will. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh crap, we're never gonna see it. Not fun. AV says, I don't mind debate, but when you get banned for your opinion, I draw the line. Yeah, we ain't gonna do all that.
Yeah.
Tangeroo says, in their mind, calling us cultists is them trying to prevent people from wasting their money on something they see as a scam. They're coming from a good place, just being rude about it. I can see that.
Yeah.
All right. Face reveal 2030 incoming. All right. So before we get to the 2030 talk, oh yeah. Oh, you know me, Arctic. You know me. So Voices of Vera, I am speaking to you. This is the official announcement. Next month, we have been blessed with the opportunity to interview the Stephen Sharif, creative director of Ashes of Creation. It's going down. It's going to be fun. We got a lot of fun plans with it. We want to do something a little bit different. Not going to reveal too much, but we'll just use the term interview for now.
Wow.
And yeah. So we will be taking some questions. Everyone that submit a question doesn't mean the question is going to get in, but it'll at least give us a jumping off point and, make sure your question is considered. The Steven guy, dude with the glasses that be on that stream, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but yeah, we're going to have viewers help us with questions. In fact, maybe in the next 2 weeks or so, I think next week we're going to probably talk guild stuff. But maybe we'll do a little bit of that today or next week or the week after, we're gonna actually go through all the questions. You can submit questions through the official Voices of Error Discord, which you can find in all my YouTube descriptions and such. So yeah.
I'll get an invite here to send out as well on my end. But yeah, it's super exciting. Like we said, it's all about you guys. You guys have given us this potential opportunity. We don't have an official date. It's like officially unofficial. Like it's tentatively scheduled. It'll be
It's a work in
before.
progress.
It'll more than likely. It's around the Alpha 2 time period. And so when you look at that, when you look at what they're trying to do, you see like Steven's basically going to be talking about Alpha 2 as it gets to it. And so what I was telling Nice earlier is it's a really exciting moment to get to ask Steven questions that haven't been asked before. But at the same time, he's done so many AMAs over the years that it's really hard to find a lot of questions that he hasn't answered. And so we're going to be relying on you guys to do to obviously help with that. My idea is I want to have it. Obviously, I want it to be fun because I want him to come back. But I also want to ask him thought-provoking questions that haven't been answered before, and that we're not going to find out right away in Alpha 2. Like, hey, are we going to have 3 potions or 4? That's not a good question. Like that's not a good question to have. Like in my opinion, a better question is like, what do you think about like what is your thought process on damage dealing for cleric? How do you envision the damage dealer playing in with other archetypes as it progresses? Something like that, something more open-ended, because the more you can ask Steven open-ended questions, the more he might reveal stuff through like leaking NDA material. And so I think that is the way to go. And we're going to need your guys' help for it.
Yeah. And guys, like you said, there's been multiple AMAs. And Steven's probably got like 6 or 7 interviews likely next month. Who knows how many, it's going to be like a whole press run in theory, right? So
Yeah.
we'll try to keep that in mind. And we definitely got something different planned. So yeah. Will there be regional specific and seasonal specific fish? That needs to be the opener right there. That needs to be the opener, maybe.
Do you have swimming?
Good evening. Good evening. So I just pasted it in both chats, you guys. If you want to check that out, I'll go ahead and pin it on each platform.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, thank you, because without you guys, opportunity would not have happened. So yeah. So let's go ahead and get to our first topic. The Copium Clinic himself, Dr. Burns, brought up the 2030 thing. So if you guys did not see, Narc posted a video today with sorry if you guys heard my voice twice, but Narc brought up a thanks, Deuce, you're awesome, dude. Narc did a timeline, which I'm actually gonna be filling out that same timeline tonight. Timeline prediction. And the big thing is that release is 2030 in his prediction. 2030, ladies and gentlemen, it is currently 2024. So if you guys could go ahead and so I can get like a little vibe, kind of read the room. You guys let me know what year you think Ashes of Creation is releasing in. I did a poll on Reddit and we talked about this before, so I kind of already got an idea of what most of the community is like, where their head is. So we kind of see, but oh man, he said 2037. Oh gosh. um, but yeah, as far as 2030, it's funny. When I first did the poll on Reddit, and because the order was, I think first place was most people voted that Alpha 2 was only going to be 1 to 2 years. And then second place was honestly, you guys, where I voted, which was 2 to 3 years. And then in third place was 5 to 6 years. So honestly, since everything has come out and we saw the phases and we've moved along and learned a little bit more and what's ready, what's not ready. When I first made that poll and when I first heard the 2030 things, I used to think that was bat-ish crazy, insane, ridiculous, doomium, just don't barely make sense, unfounded. What is wrong with you? it's a little hyperbolic there. I respect everybody's opinion, but I was like, nah,
Yeah.
there's no way, surely not.
Yeah.
And you know, since then, since some things have come to light, and since I've seen the breakdown and seen what we've obtained over this long of development, the races that's already available, the nodes, what's the progress with that, what systems are missing, what's Alpha 2 launch looking like. I don't think it's that crazy, chat. It's not what I'm predicting. Let me clarify that. It's not I don't predict 2030, but do I think it's as crazy as I once did? No. I still don't think it's like I don't think I'm hoping, but that's just me coping, right? I'm hoping it's not a thing, but is it crazy? Is it as insane as it would have been like, I don't know, 6 months ago? It's not. It's really not in my opinion. 2030 is only 6 years. Yeah, I don't think it's that crazy. But do I subscribe to that? No, not really, but do I think that person's crazy? I don't. I really don't. I used to, but I don't anymore. I'm more of the 2 to 4 year range. I think that's believable. However, I will say one thing that has changed with my opinion is the people that think Alpha 2 is only gonna be 1 to 2 years. I'm pointing and laughing at y'all now. Oh, no. Oh, you're too optimistic. I have as much faith in Intrepid as you do, but I think 1 to 2 years is it's not it's almost not being reasonable. And we
Yeah.
should all have faith. And I don't think predicting that means you don't have faith because I mean we're expecting one of the best and most ambitious MMOs. So let's prepare for the worst and pray for the best, right? So yeah, I'm still in the 2 to 4, 2 to 3. That's my prediction. Do I think it's gonna be 6 years, 2030? I don't. But you guys, I don't know. I don't think it's insane. I really don't. I mean, I don't. Not really.
Yeah, my overall thoughts on this is I don't think anybody's opinion on this is wrong. Like we're all coming from different points of view and different amounts of skepticism and optimism. And so like let's be honest guys, most of us aren't gaming developers. I certainly am not. And so I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh yeah, I know the inner workings of what
Yeah.
Intrepid is doing and I know that in the fall of 2026 the game will be live." I have no clue. I really don't. But what I will say, and this is my perspective on it, is I've given it around, like, I think it'll release sometime around 2027. That's been my rough estimate. Very rudimentary with like, hey, they need to figure out, like, once they get one biome down, I think everything else is going to escalate rather quickly. And
Yes.
so I could see the process for everything else going a lot quicker. And I know it's taken like 8 years now. So I think the next part of the process could take 2 to 3 years. 3 years is my estimation. But what I will say is with Alpha 2 coming out and when we start getting the cadence for release on content and what that content looks like, that will give us probably the best idea for when the game will actually go live. Because if things start getting delayed right away and a lot of the Alpha 2 stuff, like, the 3-day stuff gets pushed into phase 2 and a lot of the phase 2 stuff gets pushed into phase 3, then all of a sudden, now we're looking at, okay, yeah, we're a ways away. We're a ways away. They encountered some issues, right? And so I think that's going to be the most telling thing is when they start introducing us content and how quickly and how polished it actually is. And at that point, then I'll have a much better opinion. But I think my opinion will be more. I think all of us in Alpha 2 will have a pretty good idea at that point. Like, okay, it'll be sometime around here.
Yeah.
I got a
You
couple.
get to see how efficient they are.
Exactly. And so I don't know, but yeah, like, could it come out in 2030? Absolutely. Muscles here says, do you think it's going to be like Star Citizen? I do not. I know a lot of people want to make Star Citizen comparisons. I think the issue. And I think this is the biggest difference. There's a variety of different reasons. But when you look at Star Citizen and what they've done, they've enabled a lot of scope creep in their game. Like they got a lot of people excited about their game. They clearly make a lot of money on the project. They're branching out and doing a bunch of different things, and they're constantly selling things, and they're constantly adding to their game to a point to where there's so much new stuff that it's just tough to gauge like when they're going to stop adding new stuff and when they're going to actually fix like performance and release the game, right? Ashes of Creation doesn't have the same scope creep right now. Now, if a year from now they're like, hey, we're going to release, Alpha 3, Alpha 3 keys, like if they started doing stuff like that, then my opinion, then my opinion would change, of course. Like then we'd have a different like rule set of what's going on. And so right now they're operating within the scope of what's on the Wikipedia, what they've been talking about for years, and it's just going to take a while to develop. So I think that's where they differ quite a bit.
Tangaroo says, and I'm gonna circle back to a lot of you guys' comments. I've been reading all you guys' comments, but Tangaroo had just said, "Where's the line between scope creep and just getting into the details of an already previously promised feature?" So let's go ahead and talk about this really quick.
Sure.
Because this is something that's gone around the community. Scope creep, trying to avoid semantics here, but I guess if you look at the definition of scope creep, if I'm correct, it's more so like things added that wasn't originally planned.
Yes.
And so you just keep making the project harder. When most people use the term scope creep, though, they're just referring to I think what they mean to say is like something being overly ambitious, and people like to say, well, because Ashes of Creation had all this promise from the start, it's not scope creep. And to just draw the line in the middle there is just like just because it's already previously promised don't mean it's not too ambitious or overly ambitious, but just because it's a lot of stuff don't mean it's scope creep. I think let's just say that I try to avoid the term scope creep for that exact reason. Say, hey, this is a highly ambitious MMO. And I think as long as they're not adding new things, I don't foresee Steven just whipping something out of the nowhere like, hey, oh, by the way, this is this way now. It's
We're
not
doing
often that they
16v60
do that.
battlegrounds now.
Yeah,
like
they're
like
just not typically. They got enough going on. Matter of fact, there's so many old systems we haven't heard mentioned or seen in action that it's just like, we're scared that we're not even gonna get what we got promised already. So let's just walk that line. When people talk about scope creep, they're talking about the stuff Steven sprinkles in throughout the monthly updates. Yeah, just random things on the side, like, oh, you'll be able to do this and you'll be able to do that, and then people quote Steven from the wiki with some 2018 quote, and you're just like, really? Yeah, he said that, but when's the last time that's been validated, or do you think that's still a thing? But I digress. So earlier you were talking about how long development's going to be, and as we get through development, we're going to know how basically how fast they're handling stuff.
Yeah.
And when like if there's something from phase 1 that got pushed all the way back to the beginning of phase 3, we're probably looking like, they're not being really efficient. What's going on here? Where's the project management? Somebody said something. Zeppelin said, but UE5 makes things faster though, right? And then Arctic had said, once core systems are fully in place, then I can see production ramping up. This is something that we've seen brought up. Oh, and Trent had said also in terms of content, being nodes and POIs and story arcs, Riverlands is the biggest biome. So basically saying like, they knock that out, the rest should come easy. So something I like to bring up a lot is they've talked plenty times about the tools that they're developing. They give you a preview of some of those tools with the server mesh and stream and specific technologies they're implementing. And they've talked about tools in the past, like their landform tool. And it is my theory that once things get going, it will be faster. And I don't even know if that's something that you can necessarily pat Intrepid on the back for, or something that's unique to them. That's just project management 101, or that's just not that I'm the game designer, but that's game design or design 101. And that once you implement something once you do it the first time, it's going to be easier to do it then on out. So they're starting with just 5 nodes, which I mean, I don't think none of us saw that coming. They don't have racial node aesthetics online. They don't have none of this stuff. But once they master those 5 nodes and they get that right, it's not necessarily going to be a copy paste, but there is some sort of template to it, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to filling out the rest of the map with resources and maybe not using AI, but populating the land and things like that, it's always going to be easier. Now, some things are just like how you say you do it one time, or you have to put a human brain to this, like developing a story arc on the Eastern continent. This NPC, this boss fight, this quest, stuff like that. But when it comes to things like nodes and stuff like that, once you get it right, once you got that end game, like the node leveling, node XP, the ZOIs, and the vassal systems online, you got this all figured out for the Riverland. Now we're going to expand that to the mountains over here. Now we're going to expand that to over here. So that's just the nature of development, especially with their team and how large of a team that they have. Like, It's pretty big. Burns here says Margaret said that actually taking the time to make developer tools is rare. Most game devs aren't given the time for that. That's very true. Like I I don't know how to properly say this, so forgive me, chat. But it's like a minor setback for a major comeback kind of mentality. Like,
Yeah.
I've dealt with this before at work where it's like, okay, this is going to take us a longer time to get started, but let's go ahead and get this done right now. Because if we
Yep.
do this right now, it's going to be more efficient. We're going to save time in the future instead of just attacking things as they come up. Let's, and I'll try to make this more relatable for you guys. But you're at work and you want to come up with a system that's going to save you time in the long run. But hey, maybe this means we got to not take customers for 2 days, or we got to shut down the store, or we're going to operate with less cashiers or something like that. We need more people in the office brainstorming to fix this tool. So
Yep.
we're gonna, like, 2 days, we're gonna minor setback. Oh, it's gonna suck. Sales are gonna go down. But this thing that we're implementing long term, this efficiency, how quicker we're gonna get things out the store, it's gonna be so worth it, and it's gonna pay for itself.
I
And
agree.
that's in theory the project management that Intrepid is gonna approach things with. The 6 P's: proper preparation prevents pretty poor performance. Well said. Well said.
To add on to that, nice. I think, and this is once again, guys, from a person that knows nothing about video game development. I think one of their probably biggest issues is they have all of these elaborate systems that all need to intertwine and work together in harmony with each other, right? Like, so you have the corruption system with the caravan system with the node system with and then you have the economy going in with it, and all of that has to work together in order for this game to work well. It's not just, they're not putting lipstick on a pig like, oh yeah, you get battlegrounds over here and you get dueling over here, and they just throw in systems on top of a game. Like, all these things need to work together in this game. And so when you look at what they're doing, it's like, okay, well, you got to get that up and running, and that shit's going to take a while. It's going to take a while in order to get that working properly. But once you have it in the Riverlands, once you have it in the desert biome, then you know that you can expand out. And so I think a lot of that stuff is, I mean, once again, from a guy that doesn't know shit, I think that's a lot harder to do than coming up with a story for a dungeon or a different type of boss and stuff like that. Like making sure everything works properly is just so hard to get up and running. And like you were talking about, any project takes a while to like outline, like, okay, how am I going to do it? Then you go through that first step of, okay, well, how am I going to do this part? And then it's just extrapolating on top of that, and the rest of it goes quite a bit quicker. But how much quicker, we won't have an idea, I don't think, until Alpha 2.
Well said. Well said. Zep here said, I wouldn't label Ashes as scope creep, just large scope. I think is what I think he was typing. Yeah, and like, and where do you guys? Yeah, I figured that's what you meant. Where do you guys sit on the they're not showing us everything mentality? Like, they got some things they're keeping from us. I'm a little bit in between. So obviously my mindset with this is that it's a little bit less than it was before after seeing what's in phase 1. But I do believe that, and I think Margaret even said it recently where she was like, hey, we got so much that we're not showing y'all. And I kind of believe that, but not to, like, I'm not sitting here thinking they got the whole right side of the content, quest filled, story arcs over there. I don't think it's that, but maybe their progress with ships right now is a little bit more than what we would think. Maybe Rogue has got most of its kit ready, but it's just not really in a playable, showable state. They want to like improve it. I do think there is more than what they're showing us. I just don't think it's like dramatically like, holy crap, if you guys only knew. But I do think there's progress made, because something a lot of people can't conceive, or excuse me, rather comprehend, is that development isn't linear, and there's not just like, all right, team, Steven walks into the office and like 75% of the staff is working on a story arc.
Yeah.
It's like so many things happen simultaneously. That's how development works, or at least smart development would work. And so we got to keep that in mind, that the guy that's working on combat and the summoner right now isn't the same guy trying to make sure that the nodes can level up in front of us,
Yeah.
or that's working on the story arc, or that's filling out or working on AI behavior of the NPCs. So we got to keep that in mind. And yeah, there is a lot of staff that I think they've hired a lot recently. I did see that the content creator manager position is no longer posted. I did see that. And we know they've hired third-party testers, so I wonder if they're testing things we won't. Interesting.
Sure.
Interesting. I think about that sometimes, like, because I remember there is a quote from Steven in Discord. You guys, if you find it, let me know. But if you search Steven's name and you search the word siege, I'm pretty sure Steven said like in 2023 or early 24 that they tested a node siege, which we haven't seen. I don't even think node sieges are ready for phase one. Is it, chat? Is sieges in stage one? I don't think we're gonna have it for a while.
I think it's stage
It may be
3.
phase 2. 3?
I thought it was 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I know there was a message of Steven talking about he tested they were testing node sieges or something. He said phase 2.
Phase
How you
2.
doing, Crystal?
Okay.
Welcome on in.
I don't remember. I thought it was 3, but yeah.
Me either.
Regardless, it's I do think there's quite a bit, like you said, it wouldn't make any sense otherwise. So when you see, I've seen some people post like the release date of content, you know, the stuff that came out like a month ago, and people are like, oh yeah, we're gonna get this and this day, and it's like, guys, they have over 200 developers. They should be working in tandem, like in parallel with
Yes.
each other on a bunch of different things. There's probably a handful plus developers working on Naval right now. There's probably a handful plus developers working on, you know, biomes that they're going to expand out into, and then the storyline and the quest line, like all these things are being worked on at the same time. And so it wouldn't shock me, like we're close to seeing Rogue. It wouldn't surprise me that at the same time, like they also have a bunch of other stuff coming online roughly around the same time as well, at least worth to a point to where they're going to test it in alpha 2.
Yeah. Someone just confirmed phase 2 for sure.
Okay.
So like that lets you know, like, dude, there's so much. Like, do they probably have castles ready? Like we saw the castle siege in alpha 1, but being that castles is something that we're not getting until phase 3. They've probably got the base of it. You've heard Steven talk about it a lot, and this could just be stuff that he's talking about in concept. Like our plan is that you can lay traps here and set things up so it's different every time. They talked about that in the Envious / Yokai interview. That doesn't mean maybe they at least got a groundwork for that, right? But it's not till phase 3, so who knows?
Yeah.
But there's just things like that. Like there's no telling what they've got baby steps on, but it's just not show ready. And honestly, you guys that's with you that's doing spot testing right now, understand not that Nice Gaming. Hold on. I got a statement written here that they said I had to read. Hold up. Nice Gaming has not seen any spot testing material, nor has participated in spot testing, nor has any insider information with Intrepid Studios. All assets seen are Intrepid property, and nothing that I'm saying is based on any fact. Read this on stream or we will. Oh, okay, that part was for me. So basically, the build that you're seeing in spot testing is not necessarily their current live build. Like they have different builds, like the builds that players are playing on with the bare minimal. It's a different build because obviously, I mean, that's just game development 101, and they've actually confirmed that recently. So do keep that in mind. And the reason I brought that up is because someone said, alpha 2, we may not even see everything that's going to be in the alpha 2 long run. So yeah, there was a node siege in alpha 1, but a developer had to do. Yeah, I think that was a castle siege in alpha 1. I used to think it was a node siege too, but apparently that was a castle siege they did in alpha 1.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because it's how people take a lack of information or how they approach it generally that leads to these varying discussions, right? Like if you're a little bit more questionable about things, like you're going to come to the belief that they don't have anything. And if you're very trustworthy, you're going to be like, oh, they have everything, guys. Don't worry. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. And it's just, it's tough to really know. It's really tough to know exactly, like, because they haven't shown us obviously, but yeah, I think once we get into December and once we get into May of next year, we'll have a good idea of like how far along they are. Because then you can start, okay, they've shown us this. They've shown us this. They've shown it. Like you can literally start pairing things up at the wiki at that point. Okay, they've shown us this.
Yeah.
They've shown what haven't they shown us yet? What's coming down the pipeline? Okay, 8 years from now is when this game's going to come out. Like, I think we'll know then.
Yeah, I think phase 3 launch or what's there at phase 3 is going to be very telling. But yeah, they got such a large team, and people like to say, and I'm not saying these people are not right or that they're not entitled to this opinion, but people like to say, like, dang, this is all we got after 8 years.
Yeah.
It's like you would imagine things like ramp up, especially
Yeah.
with their current staffing and once they get their feet planted and start developing these tools. And also me personally, I just think that UE5 upgrade. I saw a lot of people on that Reddit post talking about like, well, what happens when they upgrade to UE6? Is that going to add 4 more years and this and that? But yeah, I think I I don't know. I believe. I believe. I think we're gonna know a lot. I think October 25th. All I'm gonna say is I think October 25th will be an eye opener. I think October 25th, that first step and that first chance people get to stream Alpha 2 and set foot into the world of Vera will be a very huge eye opener, and it will set expectations going forward. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, what comes from the community, what comes of the narrative, what comes what content creators from outside the AOC space says. But yeah.
I'm gonna.
Pounds.
This is tough. My personal opinion is I don't think I'm gonna have. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this because I don't know exactly how I want to say it. Maybe you can help me, nice. But because it starts off at 3-day testing, and like part of me is just like, you know what, it would be silly. It would be silly of me to think.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Chat's trolling me that I was muted. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
Wow. Good going,
I fell
chat.
for it too.
Wow. So because we're starting off with 3 days, and it's not like the full 7 days of testing. Like I just look at the first couple of months just as stress testing servers. And so I'm not saying that's what they're doing because I don't know, but that's how I view it. I view it as, okay, you're stress testing servers to make sure everything's online. I can't judge anything during the first 3 days, like the first 2 months of testing. For me, it's December. Like that's like once the servers are up and running and like we actually aren't lagging out and we're not glitching all over the place and all that, that's sure. when my thing will go in. But I'm under the expectation that like the first couple of weeks might potentially be unplayable just because of server stress testing. Like shit may go bad, and it's like, okay, well, that's what we signed up for, and so we just needed to know that that's what could happen.
Do you guys feel the same way, like the first one or phase 1? Because honestly, I could see that. I could see phase 1 being looked at as like a little hyperbolic here, but like as a spot test, like and that phase 2 is really the test. Like a big. What do you guys think? What are your expectations for phase 1 as far as network and performance go? Because I mean, I took off work for that Friday, and obviously I'm already off on the weekends anyway. But I took work off for that Friday just to because I don't know when the servers are going to come online, and I want to stream it. Phase 3 is the real test. Yeah, that's the real Alpha 2 that we were expecting, huh? I think I no live service launches well. I don't think I've seen one thing that's relative to the internet launch well, or at least not often. Hell, Disney Plus, people don't probably remember, but I remember when Disney Plus first went online, and it was just like people were like, "Oh, this is crap! I want my money," but just going crazy. Like within the first, I don't know how long it lasted. I want to say it was like 4 hours or something. Like people were like, "How is this happening?" Like y'all expected this to just be fine, really, with all these people. Baldur's Gate. Well, I guess that does count. They did have early access, but Ashes will I
They
don't know, man.
they had Baldur's Gate. I went back and I looked. I didn't participate in it, but I remember I had friends talk about performance and stuff, and I went back and I checked the forums for Baldur's Gate during their 3 years of testing, and people were like, "Yeah, game's glitchy, game's buggy. I lost my character, blah blah blah." But I think the overwhelming thought was like most people were having fun. It just wasn't complete, and there were issues, and I do think that that's what I'm hoping our experience for Alpha 2 is. I just don't know if we will get that experience the first couple of weeks. So for me,
Yeah.
like especially that first weekend, I'm like, dude, like they very well, the servers very well could go down. They're not saying that's happening right now for their current tests, although you might need to pass me that paper, Nice, because I also don't know anything about Alpha 2 spot testing. But
You
yeah,
didn't read the disclaimer.
but my perspective is like I always like to prepare for worst case scenario, and when they say like we're making sure our servers they're going to have thousands of people on there, and so things could go wrong. And should I expect this game's going to work perfectly on day one? Nope, I shouldn't. And so I'm waiting until like before I have like a super strong. I will provide videos with my thoughts. Like, yeah, it's really laggy. Like the game's
Yeah.
not working. I haven't been able to get on all weekend. There's a bunch of issues. Like I can do those videos, but I just personally don't see the first couple of months necessarily going well.
Yeah, I'm gonna not I mean, how do I say this? I'm not gonna fault too much for networking. Like if hour 1 through 3 when Alpha 2 is supposed to be online, we're having connectivity issues, we're getting kicked offline. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
fault Intrepid for that because I expect it. If it goes that whole 3-day weekend of October 25th or 2 whole days, then I'm like, all right, what was all the spot testing for? But at the same time, it's an alpha, and I think they said last 6,000 people have been invited to spot tests as of current.
Yeah.
Mm, but yeah,
I think they said 6,000
yeah.
last I heard.
Mm-hmm. Arctic says, say what you will about New World, nobody will deny its success at launch. How did their networking go at launch? I know. Oh, theirs was server queues. Yeah, they had a lot of server queue issues.
Yep.
And Hounds, I'm trying to mod you, but so many people have the same name, and I'm trying to make sure I get the right person here.
That's a good time. That so that while you're doing that accidentally happened in my Discord. Somebody tried to give a random person a role, and they accidentally gave them a moderator role, and they went through and they started banning a bunch of people they don't like.
Oh wow.
So don't mess up is what I'm trying to say. Nice, don't mess up.
Yeah,
'Cause-
yeah. Oh, I already did that with Deuce, someone who actually already did some cool mod stuff. He pinned a comment for me. I didn't realize I modded the wrong person until Viral messaged me afterwards saying, "Hey, I think you modded the wrong Deuce." I was like, "Oh wow, thank you,"
Uh-oh.
because I would not have noticed. But the reason it's hard for me to mod him is because he has no profile picture, and so I type in his name, and a bunch of people with a blank profile picture come up. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want to risk it." So Hounds, get you a profile picture so I make sure I'm clicking the right one. They didn't expect 1 million people. I wonder. I mean, server meshing will change everything, guys.
just not right away.
Just not right away.
It might not go very well right away. Like I don't know. I look at both ends, right? Like our experience is like a lot of us is potentially on a spectrum, and it could go really really well or it could go really really poorly. And so just being prepared to know that either can happen is a good thing. The last thing I would want to do is go into something like this and being like, oh yeah, everything's going to be great, like I'm going to be playing game of the year in a month and a half, and it's going to literally be like everything I'm hoping for, and then all of a sudden I lag out for a weekend, and like I didn't have realistic expectations, and now I'm just my thoughts on it are ruined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is just me constantly subverting expectations, but I'm expecting those first couple of launch hours to be chaotic.
Yes.
I'm expecting to pretty much have the same stream format that I have like literally right now, where we're just kind of, we got AOC on the screen and we're just talking and chatting and stuff like that, because we keep getting kicked out of the game and stuff like that. So I don't expect a smooth launch, and that's not a knock to Intrepid. That's just like I mean, they sold a lot of Alpha 2 keys, dude. So
Yeah,
that's gonna be really
it's a lot of
stressful.
people.
Yeah, we're gonna role play AC on AOC on the screen. Yeah, this is me playing. The game's live. You guys should totally buy one. Referral code in the description.
In that
Say put
same
the
vein,
Discord.
like you said, Nice. In that same vein, if they're able to on ramp, 50,000, however many people there are there day one, and there's like
Mhm.
no big crashing issues. I mean, from my perspective, I know some people would look at it as like, well, that's the bare minimum. That's the way it should be. I'd
Yeah.
be like, man, they're doing something that they haven't yet done before, and everything went seamlessly. Everything went seamlessly. Like you gotta give them their props there, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, because in my brain, it's funny you said that because in my brain, that's not even a possibility. Like, that's not even in the realm of possibility. So yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, if they pull off a smooth launch networking wise, I would call a smooth launch networking wise. If Steven pings to Discord, servers are live, Alpha 2 has begun, and then
Yep.
we all try to load in, and then it's offline, and they correct it within an hour. That to me is a huge accomplishment. Maybe I'm easy to please. I don't know. But to me, I'll be like, okay, you guys are cooking. And they got like 15 servers you can choose from with a 3K cap. And everybody's logging in. Server's smooth. Performance is fine. That would be a huge, there'll just be a huge stand in the block. Like, that's just phenomenal. If they could, like 1 hour, dude, like that's an accomplishment for launching a live service essentially. Yeah, 2 hours even, like that's big.
And then your only issues are in game. Like, hey, like I'm in here, experiencing bugs over here. I'm experiencing these bugs, but like it's not login issues. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Just normal alpha stuff. Yeah, that would be very, very exceptional. But yeah. So once again, we appreciate you guys being here. We could not do this without the voices of Vera. If you did miss the announcement, we did announce we have an interview with creative director of Ashes of Creation, Stephen Sharif, at some time next month. Got some fun stuff planned. We got some questions. We got to place it in Discord. You can submit your questions. We are going to we're an hour in. We're gonna go ahead and end things short. I know a lot of you want to watch the U.S. presidential debate. We don't talk politics here, but I know a lot of people are wanting to go watch that. So we are gonna end it just a little bit shorter, about 20 minutes shorter than usual. We're gonna end that here, and then I'll go grab some food and whatnot. Stick around though. I would like to rage with you guys. So we'll be doing that. Any closing remarks, or what are you looking forward to asking Steven the most? How about that? What are you looking forward to asking Steven the most else?
Oh, you already know this. You already know. Okay, guys. So here's my big question. And Steven, if you were watching, you shut this stream off right now, please, because I don't want to spoil it. No. So my number one question is the more I've thought about their entire idea on game design, it's great. Like I love the rock paper scissors mechanics. I love the fact, like, Nice, you know this, playing MMOs, like too many people complain about things and they nerf stuff to the ground, and classes becoming unplayable just sucks, right? It's just like, okay, now my class has nothing. Like you've given me nothing. Now I get to play with like a piece of poop on your game, and you're gonna expect me to have fun with this. Like it's terrible.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so the idea behind, and I did a video on this a few months ago talking about Ashes of Creation's rock paper scissors mechanics, basically saying like, yeah, we're not trying to balance the classes. You're going to have specific strengths versus specific types of things. And they're like, you're going to be strong as rock versus scissors. You're going to be weak versus paper. And so the entire point is each class is supposed to be strong in a specific environment. My question is what happens? How do they analyze when rock becomes stronger than paper? So how do you
feedback are they listening to?
Exactly. So how do you identify it? How do you figure that out? And then how are you going to go about making those adjustments? Because at some point, it's great to give all these archetypes and classes strengths, but at some point, one of the three is going to be off kilter, and it's either not going to be strong enough or it's going to be too strong to where literally you're just like, yeah, I'm going to be fucking rock and I'm going to crush everything, because it's not like vampire and ESO for like the last 3 years, right? And it's like, it's just everybody's a vampire, because why wouldn't you be a vampire in PvP?
Yeah, still.
Yeah. And so I've seen like other games, like I will give my hat off to New World for this. They have tools in the background that run win rates for OPR and arenas. And so they can see what the winning weapon combinations are, and they can look at that. And it's not the end all be all for them, but they use it as a tool to say, yeah, a lot of players are saying that these specific weapons are really strong, and they're able to identify the strengths and potential issues. And they actually did a really good job of balancing weapons, I thought, when we were playing. And I'm very curious as to what tools Steven and Intrepid have to approach the same thing, and how they can attempt to prevent making classes unfun to play.
Well said. You know what you made me think of, and I don't know if we could tie this to the same question or this can technically be another one, but that made me think about ESO's class rep system.
Yeah.
And it don't have to be just for content creators. I would like it to be like content creators or influential content creators, because obviously they get to hear a lot of different voices around the community, a lot of different narratives and whatever. But also some people are just an expert at their archetype or just playing the game. And I would like to have and this is, Ashes has a lot of community managers, so this might not be an
Yes.
issue. And they're really good at taking feedback, forums and whatnot. But I hope there's like a liaison or a program where the players speak directly to these developers and say, hey, everyone is unanimous that cleric needs a DPS up. Like the damage is not there when you try to do DPS cleric. It shouldn't be like
Yeah.
the fighter, but like it just doesn't feel fun to play. I don't want to play a healer, but I want to play this and it's just not fun. Or, really, that was
Yeah.
just an example, chat, but really specific feedback on how things should be balanced and stuff like that. Once we start getting into the point of Alpha 2 when balance is important, but
Yeah.
does a class feel fun to play? Which is the more of the priority and stuff like that. I don't know. I hope they have something like that.
To briefly piggyback off that, because I know we're going to end this early. I brought up that example in our Discord. Nice. ESO did this at one point, and every game does this. Like, this is just an example, of course. But a long time ago, ESO had like, it is the same recently, but Magsork was like the strongest class in ESO. It was by far the strongest. Shields huge, whatever. And
Yeah.
ESO's tools, they were looking at things. They're like, well, people are using these skills, but they're not using the pet skills. And so they're like, we need to buff the pet skills because we want to provide pets for people that want to play Sork. And the thing is it's not wrong. People weren't using the pets, but it wasn't because they weren't strong. It's because people didn't want to play them. They weren't very fun. They weren't very functional. They didn't work very well in an open world 1vx environment. And if they got feedback, like Nice said, from the community, they would have known that. But instead, what they did is they kept buffing pets, and they buffed pets. And so it got to a point where like you would see them in dueling and they were just OP as shit, right? And then they buffed them like 2 more times, and people are like, okay, well, if you're just gonna give me the most OP shit imaginable, like I'm gonna run it now. Like I don't want to run pets, but now I'm gonna run it. And so they ran them because literally like they just kept buffing something that was extremely strong. And so then that's what everybody did. And so I think the process is important. And I think it's super interesting on exactly what you're talking about. Like if DPS cleric doesn't feel right, doesn't necessarily mean upping the damage. It means changing the cast times, changing the abilities to be more functional. It could be a variety of things, and how they identify that is important, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hound says, I hope they don't show favoritism like ESO Nightblade. Yeah, it sucks seeing one class constantly buffed and the others neglected for so long.
Yeah.
Where's our mage showcase update? Yeah, I want one for the tank. That one's even longer ago than the mage. Like, we're not getting one. I don't want a dedicated stream to it, but yeah, I would like to see it. But hey, we're so close. I guess I'm going to find out myself. You know what? I'll do the tank showcase for you guys. I'll do the updated tank showcase for you guys. But yeah, we're going to end it there, chat. Appreciate you guys. We could not do this without you, the voices of Vera. We are going to raid. I'm going to raid over to Arrow. Arrowly. He's a former New World content creator, but he's been a WoW main for the past year. I wish I left New World for WoW back when he did, but he is probably one of the most energetic streamers you will see. He plays a ranger in every game. He's playing a a hunter on WoW/ranger. So
He's fun to
he's
watch.
doing some PvP right now. Yeah, so he's just fun to watch. He's like super overly animated. Like you guys are gonna enjoy it. But yeah, he's playing some World of Warcraft right now. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Once again, thank you for being here. And yeah. Peace.
See you guys.
And 3, 2,